Where have I been for the last several months, you might ask? Well, pretty much here. But don't worry, folks. I'm coming back with a whole series of reviews. I got a new camera especially for it. I don't really know how to work the damn thing or how to edit it together just yet. We're kind of figuring it out, so for a while it's still gonna look like ass. Let's not talk about how I've been neglective or where I've been. Those things aren't important. Let's just concentrate on today's movie, Beeping Sloozy, Sleeping Beauty. Why am I wearing this stupid hat? No one knows. Today's review is Sleeping Beauty. No, not the classic fairy tale that you may have shown your daughter, but the other one that you bought for your daughter thinking it was that one and then had to end up explaining what somnophilia is. So before I start talking about the movie, I want to give a little bit of a background on why I chose to review it and why it's sort of notable to me, and the reason for that is that it stars Emily Browning. So starting in about 2009 when the movie The Uninvited came out, I started following all the movies she was doing, and they were sort of going in more of a dark direction as they went along. After that, of course, was Sucker Punch, which got universal bashing, and believe you me, I didn't like it any more than anyone else. So where can you go from there? Well, I remember reading the description for Sleeping Beauty when it was still, I guess, in production. A girl is being kept captive in a dungeon and gets drugged so that night after night different men can come in and do what they wish to her and she doesn't remember a thing. Boy, that sounds like a great time. And honestly, that's not too far from how the movie actually is. Of course, she's not being kept in a dungeon per se. The character of Lucy that Emily Browning plays is willingly a participant in just being taken advantage of by old men. The film has pretty bold aesthetics. For example, there's very little background music, very little sound effects in the background as well. Somewhat limited dialogue. The dialogue is very subdued. The acting is very subdued and dialed back and almost over the top in its deadpannery. The characters aren't even really very well developed or very much explained. There's not much backstory either. You basically have to do a lot of guessing on your own, and that's just one reason why this is definitely one of those festival movies, if you know what I mean. There's unfortunately not much, in my opinion, going on in the movie. There's certainly not a shred of humor or anything. I think they go about the right way of creating tension, which is to not have a bunch of cuts and to instead linger on something for a very long time and make the audience uncomfortable. However, a whole movie of that? To be honest, one of my first criticisms about the movie is that there's nothing really to latch onto. So the movie really kind of rests on Emily Browning's performance, and like I said, she's not a very likable character. She kind of treats everyone around her like crap and doesn't really seem to care about anyone around her or herself. She'll just do self-destructive things like randomly meet up with old men in a bar and have sex with them, even though it's not even in any way related to this job where she doesn't even have to have sex with the old men. So what are you doing? Her performance is fine, and I understand not every character has to be liked, just like every movie doesn't have to have a nice sort of bow at the end, and this movie certainly doesn't have that either. But if you spend a whole movie with a character you're not really supposed to like, then I'm also kind of left wondering what's drawing you in. Well, we already know, but you know what I mean. I feel like this might be one of those movies where it's left up too much to your imagination for what you're supposed to believe. And, you know, I love movies like that where you have to sort of decipher what everything means for yourself, but at a certain point you also have to give us, you know, something to chew on. I can sort of feel echoes of other movies while I'm watching this. There's this shot of two women just bending down with their asses out in front of the fireplace. It's a very dehumanizing, crazy image that definitely reminded me of Solo. I don't know, I also kind of don't like the feeling that it's one of those movies where everyone has to explain to you why it's so great, or like, oh no, you're just missing this part because blah blah blah. Or, worse yet, it all makes sense when you see the last 5 minutes and this little thing happens and then that makes everything else make all the sense in the world. There's a couple of movies like that that I really can't stand, like, oh, The Brown Bunny, or take even a movie I reviewed already, The Comedy, which was actually somewhat kind of similar to those movies as well. It moves along very slowly and we're not really told very much, and then at the last minute something not really very significant happens, but everyone sort of points to that as that's the turning point, or that means that all that was that. Now I'll tell you about what I got out of the movie, or what I guess, believe what the meaning of the movie is. It's supposed to be about people who, I guess, just go through life through this state where they're not even 100% conscious, or they're purposefully ignoring things in life and just trying to, move past them as if they don't exist. So effectively they're asleep. And beyond that, it's also about people's inability to communicate their feelings to one another, or to make a real connection on a real level that isn't sort of a surface level connection. But yeah, there's some definite heavy-handedness during the movie, especially that scene that just kind of particularly derails everything. There's a 5-minute shot of that old man talking. So okay, I get it. It's about apathy and waking up and not just being another whatever. At the same time, there's also, even though a movie's message might be good, or you may even understand what the movie is going for, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good movie or appealing to watch, certainly not on a regular basis. And I understand that life is very mundane, and sometimes you want to put images like that up on the screen. I don't know, there's just some moments where they sort of like stick in like, here's some metaphor. You figured out what it means, though. Maybe it's a red herring, like when she pours the berries in the back of the limo. What is that? I would say, ironically, the movie would be best suited for something to throw on when you're trying to make yourself fall asleep. Kind of a boring movie, not something even fans of the movie, I think, would want to return to very often. Not a very pleasant experience. But hey, things seem to be looking up a little bit for Emily Browning. I mean, I did see another one of her movies called Plush, which was just god-awful, maybe possibly the worst one that's come out yet. But I did see that she did some period piece, which seems very appropriate for her and her look and whatnot, and she seems to be doing a little bit better movies.
I would really love to suck your cock.
Oh, thank you. Yes, So if you ever just want to be weirded out or watch a movie on your computer where every 2 seconds you have to do this, then this is the movie for you. I've actually been going to the movies recently, which is very much a rarity for me. I saw Tusk, the follow-up to Red State by Kevin Smith. Very interesting movie, and definitely a possible future review. I also saw Gone Girl. And to give a short description on what I thought of that movie, turn down the soundtrack a little bit, I can't hear the dialogue. What else did I see? I saw a documentary called Beautiful Noise about shoegaze. Well, I hope you enjoyed my triumphant return to the world of movie reviews. I think you know what to do, right? Stay sexy.
Baboon.